everyone, welcome to the Echo of 21K, a podcast brought to you by the students of 21K School, India's first online-only school. This is your host Riya, and together with Akanksha, on our very first episode of the series, Behind the Scenes with the Co-Founders, we warmly welcome our first esteemed guest and the backbone of our 21K school, Mr. Santosh Kumar, co-founder and chief executive officer, and Mr. Yeshwanth Parasmal, co-founder and chief operating officer.
Let's introduce our very first guest on the podcast to our dear listeners. We have Santosh sir, who discovered his true calling in the field of education after working globally at IT firms for more than 8 years. He's an IIT Delhi alumni and is disrupting technology to find its potential. And we have Yeshwanth sir, an intellect from the University of Southampton and a professional in the field of education. With over 20 years of expertise, he's passionate about transforming education in India. He's an expert in strategy planning, system development, and brand creation.
Yeshwanth sir and Santosh sir, we warmly welcome both of you to the podcast, The Echo of 21K. Dear listeners, our beloved 21K school has been awarded as the best global school in teaching learning practices during the EduMeet 2021 Excellence Awards for Education and Skill Industry. Sir, our heartfelt congratulations on achieving this huge milestone.
So, sir, how do you feel today, sir? How do you feel to be on the podcast?
Thank you very much for this podcast, and it's a fantastic initiative which students have started. And this is the whole. This is a kind of a purpose with which we started 21K School. We wanted students to be innovative, creative, and to be ready with futuristic. I think this will be the first of its kind in India. Students running a complete set of podcasts, and we see a lot of people following that. By running such an initiative, we are actually seeing the why we started, the why for the 21K School is being answered, step by step. And we are very delighted. We are very happy that today we are being recognized as one of the academically good schools globally. And I would say that Yeshwanth and his team has done a fantastic job towards that. We are just tech guys, and without academics, the school has nothing to do with it. So with that, I will just congratulate our principal Yeshwanth and his complete team, which has worked towards achieving this excellence. And obviously, an important part of it is students. And we are looking forward for a great journey towards making this concept of volunteer school globally recognized and globally accepted by everyone. And we will work towards the future jobs. That's something we are working towards. Tech is just a small part of it. I think the major point of the equations are teachers and students. We are just enabling them with technology. That's the overall feedback from my side. Yeshwanth, you want to add something?
Yeah, thanks, Santosh. I think it's an absolutely delight. I think I've never been so proud in my life before than being on this podcast hosted by the students. What makes it much more emphatic is that the entire idea, concept, the name, the logo, I think everything was conceptualized by the student. I'm sure the viewers may think that the ad agencies are involved, but absolutely no. I think that's the this podcast only strengthens our belief in the potential of the students and what we want to do at 21K School. I think there's an immense potential in every child to nurture their own creativity, talent, what is required for this century of generation of learners. And I think this is just a testimonial of what we could achieve at 21K School.
Definitely, sir. Good to know, sir. Let's begin with our very first question. Santosh, sir, how did all the co-founders meet?
We wanted to, I returned from Dubai and we wanted to start like me, Dinesh. We wanted to start a physical school. Dinesh was building a physical school in Sholinga. It's a remote place in Chennai. It's around 120 kilometers from Chennai. That's where we met Yeshwanth for, because he's having expertise in setting up schools. So one thing we realized is, though we spend say crores of money in building a good infrastructure school, good teachers are not ready to travel. Like they are saying, we wanted to be in metro cities and with, the amenities and stuff. So a school without teacher is nothing. You don't have any purpose of a good school without teachers. That's when Yeshwanth came up with this idea of an online school which is actually, which will bring in good quality education to the remotest part of the world, the deserving kids. And also we wanted to keep it more affordable and much more, accessible to everyone. That's how the whole journey of online schooling started. And that time when we saw that why it has not happened all these days is because the availability of internet to remotest part of the country and the availability of quality devices. Now by 2019, 2020, that was completely sorted. And everybody was running on smartphones with, high quality internet and devices. So we felt like this is the right time, for the uh, for this disruption to take place. And that's how the whole journey of 21K School started.
Yes, sir. That was a very wonderful answer and a very beautiful journey.
Yeah, just to add to that, when you say how four of us met, just on the lighter side, but I've not met two of my other co-founders. That's been the beauty of our relationship. I think four of us are working together with a common vision, but in a physical space, only Santosh and I have met. I've not met Dinesh and Joshi, and still, I think we are so strongly connected as far as the thoughts and vision is concerned.
Definitely, sir. I'm connected the same way with my council.
Yes, sir. Our amazing school, it's like one of a kind. It's India's only online school. What inspired you and the other co-founders to build 21K School, and what was the main objective behind it?
I think for long we believed, being in education space for 2 decades, I think there was always a thought process that the 16 years of time which a child spends, right? Almost no child decides on the 16 years. It's the society, the parents and the community at large. But just, thinking aloud in terms of, what happens at the end of 16 years, when you're spending almost 8 to 10 hours every day, right from grade 1 to 12, and then the pre-primary and senior secondary classes. But is it delivering the value in the today's time, right? This education system was very much required in the industrialized era, in the factory model of the industry and the society, where people were expected to be trained to deliver certain things repeatedly more on the standardized term. This is no longer the case, right? Anybody doing a standardized work today, he gets outdated the very moment he thinks of that. Forget about even doing things. So how can we build an education system which allows every student to nurture their own creativity, their own passion? So how can every individual be prepared or educated to be very different as far as the thought process is concerned? That is the primary reason. I think, there's a lot more innovation happening in the West. There's little innovation happening now. It's only in the recent past that you're seeing all that startup culture and new products and new ideas being implemented. To a great extent, I think these are driven by the personalized, flexible learning models. Imagine a time where you just complete your entire education in 3 hours time, and you are free to pursue your own passion without being bound by the so-called, the school curriculum. I think there's an immense potential what this kind of a model can do for the country as a whole, for the society as a whole. There could be a lot more innovations. India can truly capture the demographic dividend and be a global leader if we just nurture the talent that is there today in every child in India.
Yes, sir. It was a really inspiring answer. 21K School is really helping our students think out of the box and discover so many things we usually wouldn't if we went to the brick and mortar schools.
Santosh sir, the 21K name is very unique and one of a kind. So what was the idea behind the name 21K?
So this name came from Yeshwanth, and the rationale behind and why I like 21K is it's 21st century learning. Like the learning which you are doing right now or our kids are doing, it's actually outdated. It's 50 years old. And for a kid, like 10 years down the line, when you guys are in 2030s or something, you need to be enabled with 20th century skills. So that's what was the perception. At the same time, we follow something called as flip learning. So if you go outside India, schools are known by K-12 name. K-12 is the nomenclature used for school, K-12 school. So if you flip it, it is 21K. So we are different. We are completely opposite from what others are doing. And our kids after 10, 15 years will be completely outshining everyone. So that was the whole rationale behind the name 21K.
Wow, sir. I think the thought process is something we could have never thought of.
Yeshwanth sir, you're a visionary yourself, and I'm sure you carry a vision for 21K School. In your own words, could you please explain what is the vision for our school and how you plan to realize the vision in the next few years?
I think the vision is pretty simple. I mean, I think we want to make the 16 years of school education count in terms of making it more meaningful and joyful. Meaningful from the sense that this whatever we learn in the 16 years. I mean, in fact, see, after 16 years of education, the child learns his master's, graduation programs. But did you ever think that what he learns in the school he never forgets, right? We learn very critical things right from the pre-primary years, the alphabets, colors, who helps us, the founding years for the entire life journey, right? I mean, 16 years literally defines what you're going to do for the remaining 80 or 100 years, right? So this is very impactful. But if we don't give them the right education and skills, make it meaningful for the society and times we are living, it is completely outdated. It's like, developing something. Today, imagine a company designing and developing, the slates today, right? I mean, those are not the days where you can, come and invent an innovative chalk or innovative, slate. Because, people are using finger and tabs today. So you can't come out with an innovative idea. So it has to be relevant to today's time. So that is one aspect of making it more meaningful. Second is obviously joyful, right? I mean, a lot more of us, we are, we have a large number of privileged children who can decide what needs to be done. The parents are very informative and educative. We have access to internet, world of information, books. And for large amount of our students across India, they do not really enjoy education because the way the schools deliver the education, the rote learning methods. So how can we make it more joyful and meaningful? I think that's the pursuit that we want to do it. I think four of us clearly understand, what we are doing today. The results will not be visible today, but many years later, when all of you, go ahead and start something new, build something new for the society, solve a particular problem of the world, I think that's where we are going to be proud one day, saying that, yes, the seed that we sowed in 2020 has shown the results maybe 15 years down the lane. Yeah.
A really powerful vision, sir. Thank you so much.
Santosh, sir, there's so much from Corona and there's wildfires, there's so much negativity in the world. And despite this, you managed to work. So what motivates you in the morning to get up and go to work?
My daughters. They are the one who wake me up daily, and the energy which you get out of the kids, right? The whole purpose is like something different. They make you wake up with me on the time, and they are always energetic. Whatever may happen, I will shout at them. They'll be negative for a certain time, and they forget everything. Kids are like that. The whole purpose of 21K school is kids don't take anything on to the heart. They actually find a solution. For example, if there is a wildfire, tomorrow we don't know. Our kids may come up with some innovative solution to either stop wildfires or stop it at a particular point. Climate change is happening. The climate change is something it's very serious right now. I'm seeing, like, I have been in India for so long. I went to Delhi last week, and the pollution is so severe. A place where I lived, like, close to 8 years, I was feeling so nauseatic, in terms of I could see the difference. So this is actually not going in the right way, and going down 10 years down the line, we'll be in a problem. But the kids, like the kids of 21K school, I am confident that they will come up with new ways, new ideas, new methodologies to save our environment, and we will do a part of it. And who knows, the initiatives which we have taken will actually, transform into something really big in the world. So climate change or COVID, whatever, these are actually problems. This is something nature throws at you. What depends is how you react and how you solve those problems. Because humanity would not have been humanity if we would not have solved the issues. If we have started living with it, then we would not have, survived all this long. And I'm confident that we'll find ways to survive and, come forward. And the key part of that puzzle is the kids, because you guys are at the right age of that innovation. You guys are, at right age of that thinking capability and capacity. And from us, the 21K school is an enabler for that. And end of the day, it's everything what kids do. So that keeps us, moving. That keeps us, energetic and being positive.
Definitely, sir. That was a really sweet and a wholesome answer.
Sir, you both have so much of experience with difficulties and challenges, making you the best leaders the school could ever ask for. So, Yashwant sir, throughout your life, what has been that one guiding principle that you have used?
I think there has been a 10 most important two-letter words of my life. If it is to be, it is up to me. I think that's what probably defines life. It is, right. I mean, people start thinking that, of course, there's a lot of interdependency, interrelation between people and life as well. I mean, you simply can't say that it's all because of me today. It's simply not possible. But at the end, every person has to think that this is the bit that I can do, right? I think that is critical. I mean, every morning when you wake up and you know that you're working for thousands of students, you're trying to transform the life of thousands of students. You want to bring in a influence everybody else. But if I do my bit, I think somewhere down the lane it will make a difference. So I think that is what has been driving me.
Thank you, sir. It's been a wonderful guiding principle. Santosh sir, throughout your life, has there been any leadership philosophy that you have followed?
Leadership philosophies, I've actually been influenced by a lot of leaders whom I have worked with. And how do I say any one leadership philosophy? I believe in one thing, like enabling your team, okay, and having a trust on it. And only one thing which will drive a complete organization or a school is like having a trust on the team and let them do what they do. Uh, Team will do a mistake, but that's how we learn. Okay, if somebody does a mistake, it's not like it's the end of it. And having a trust and letting them do their job is something which which defines a really good leadership. So that's something. But there are a lot of things which I've learned. But one of the most important things which I teach also is this. Like I never come and ask any teacher or principal or even Yeshwanth how the academics is being done, because I have that trust and we just let him do his job, because uh, that's where a complete good team forms, right? If there are an issue, we sort out. But yeah, end of the day, the team has to be enabled. That's what I believe.
Definitely, sir.
Definitely, sir. On this question, sir, you also said that your team. So, sir, how we are on a virtual platform now, and it's very hard to keep someone motivated. So, how do you keep your team motivated virtually?
Giving them flexibility. See, everyone has seen virtual working has increased productivity, irrespective of any organization. What happens is they are flexible, they don't travel, they don't spend 3 hours, 4 hours on road, they don't spend on getting ready or something, they have time with their personal life. The more close you are to your families, right, the more productive you will be, because emotionally, mentally, you will be free and recharged. This is something which people don't understand. Like, it's not like always being in front of the Zoom call, but you have your own time. The biggest problem in today's life for an adolescent or a kid is they say, I don't have time. We are giving them a commodity called time, and I feel that will be transformative. We have our challenges of working from remote, but the commodity or the money which we earn, time, is invaluable. Okay, and that actually keeps everyone motivated. All these days, like 10 years or 15 years, many people have told, like IT people, people who are working in high pressure organization have lost complete touch of their personal life. They are depressed, they are this thing. Now people are saying we are not depressed on personal level, but we are depressed that we are sitting in front of computers. It's only that they need some more time to work virtually, and that's something which keeps everyone motivated, because it's not the meetings or something, but it's more about you are allotted a work and that work is finished. You see the output. Like 21K school today, we are so happy to see. There are challenges working from remote, but the output when we see kids growing so fast, so creative, so imaginative, that's something keeps us motivated. Like, yeah, this is the thing which we started 21K school all about, and we are achieving what we want.
So, thank you for your insights.
Uh, Sir, you both have studied in like two different universities in two different places. Yashwant, sir, you have studied abroad in the Southampton institution in the UK. So could you please let us know among a lot of takeaways you had from Southampton, what was that number one that has stayed with you till now?
I think principally, that change from the rote learning method to application-based learning is what I really discovered at my university in Southampton. It's an amazing experience because you don't they don't expect you to be master of the knowledge or information, right? But as managers, when I was doing my MBA, I was taught how to interpret data rather than creating data. For example, we all teach law in our universities, but that university told us how to understand law so that you can have a meaningful conversation with the advocates, right? So how that law impacts my business, I think that's an understanding that was missing. And when I came back, I realized that this is the same problem right at the school education also, right? So we are taught about, for example, water cycle. But how many schools or the children really understand why this water cycle is being taught? How does it impacts their life? How does it impacts climate change? What is happening to the thing? So that contextualization or application of learning is completely missing. That is true across India's education system, but there are fantastic examples of changes already happening there. It's great. I think if we just pursue and push this agenda forward, it can bring a world of change. But that change has to come in right from kindergarten. We don't have to wait for MBA or engineering to be transformed. I think that change has to come right from the kindergarten.
Santosh, you studied in IIT Delhi, one of the most prestigious institutions in the country. How did studying in IIT Delhi shape you to become who you are right now?
To work in pressure, in very simple terms. So what I've studied, what I've understood with my journey in IIT is you should know to sleep 2 to 3 hours and you should work with pressure. And even with pressure, you should come up with what makes you like. There is an Indian word called jugaad. It's a bad word, the way people use it, but that's a fantastic way the Indians are defined. You find your ways to get things done. You find a way to automate. You find the way to do things so efficiently because the level of pressure you will have in those organizations, it will shape up you or it will transform you. Even in peak thing, you will not buckle. You will find a way to come out of it. That's something which is very important for any person or any guy who is working in an organization. So one key lesson which I learned from IIT is to work in pressure.
So, Santosh sir and Yeshwanth sir, if you had to write a book, maybe tomorrow, maybe 1 decade, 10 years, 100 years, what would you write? Like, what topic would you write about? Yeshwanth sir, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think it's very clear. I think the thought process in my mind was clear that, I think the title of the book would be Dreams Do Come True. What I really see missing in today's kids, right, or the even youth or even grown-ups, right, that self-belief is completely missing. If you read a lot of books on motivation, secret and any other things, how you can become rich, there's only one thought process that's behind. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. But there is an art of dreaming also, right? You need to create that visualization. You need to, create that emotion within you. You need to live that dream before it becomes a reality. You'd be very surprised. I still have that notes which I had written about 15 years back, how I can be one of the members of leading a transformation in the India's education system. There is a 3-page speech which I had written about 15 years back. So this is something that is happening today is not only because I have been driving it, but that famous dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan in one of the movies, right? When you can itne shiddat se jab, I think I don't remember that exact thing, but that is actually a reality. And unfortunately, we never teach this to our children or in school or outside the school. But if you can dream it, if you can believe it, if you can feel it, it will happen. Any reality that happens in your life actually first happens in your mind, in your emotions. So how do you push, give power to your dream with those emotions, with that belief, makes all the difference in life. and I think it's possible. I think that's something that people have personally experienced number of things and things which have been very transformative in personal and professional life. But unfortunately, that's an art or that's an important aspect of knowledge which is never taught in the school.
Definitely, sir. And I'm sure that we as your students will be very excited. And Santosh, sir, what would you write about?
Actually, I have been planning this for a long time. The title of the book will be Powerpuff Girls and a Kid, because at every stage of my life, it has been coincidental. Like three women have been always influential in my growth. When I was a kid, when I was an adolescent, and when I am today. So there has always been three women. Okay, at different stages, been three different people. But that's how I name it, like Powerpuff Girls and Kid. So the kid is me, obviously. So that's why I don't want to be called as a sir. So at this stage, it is my two daughters and my wife. So that will be the title of the book. It will be on a the way women influence the men in their life. So that will be the stream, but kind of a journal. I've already started writing this book. In fact, from 2 weeks back, we actually achieved a phenomenal feat. And I was just thinking, what are the things in life which have started shaped towards the vision. I've already started writing.
Sir, I think this answer deserves an applause.
Of what? You people are still calling me sir. Okay.
Sir, you have been in the education industry for almost 20 years, which is 2 decades. So I'm sure you have seen a lot of changes in the education industry. What is that one that has significantly stayed in your mind? Would you like to share that with us?
I don't agree, Riya, at all. I mean, the education sector hasn't changed at all, right? I mean, the way probably my father read in the school, the way we were taught and the way probably you were taught in the kindergarten, nothing has changed, right? So let me do a quick thing, right? I mean, tell me, I'm going to tell a letter and you'll have to tell me what object comes into mind. Santosh, you could also participate. A for?
Apple.
A.
Apple, right? I mean, all of us are thought A for apple. I mean, why not ant, aeroplane, antelope, or anything else? See, all of us have gone through different schools, right? But all of us are just thought A for apple. Look at the amount of standardization that has gone and right from our childhood. Nothing has changed. Even today, the kids are learning the same way. I mean, I was homeschooling my own child because I know I don't want him to learn A for apple at all. I mean, he should learn many different things about A. So I really nothing has changed. I think I think we'll be lucky if in our lifetime if we see some change in our education sector. But very sad, very depressing. But that's the fact. I don't think nothing has changed. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your views, sir.
The COVID situation helped us a lot to work on ourselves. So, and also it gave us a lot of quality time with our families. So how did the COVID situation shape you individually? Santosh, sir, would you like to go first?
Individually, it has given me a lot of insight about my family, the level of fear, how they handle fear, how they handle such kind of situation. And secondly, it has taught us to be fearful at least somewhat. Today we are wearing masks. We would have never worn a mask. Okay? Even I was in deep pollution in Delhi. If it was normal days, I would not have gone there with mask. And it has taught us to be fearful with something, like there is something above us which is actually driving us. And yeah, that's all. But yeah, the real persona inside you comes out when you are actually put up in such a kind of pressurized and uncertain times, right? So the real persona is actually something which comes out. One thing good which has happened is a lot of people have developed a lot of emotional bonds, family personalization. That is was something which was missing. And many a times I used to say everyone, in next decade or something, everybody will lose their personal touch. People are not getting married, they're not having kids. In South Korea, there is a huge problem. South Korea, Japan, and all the people are not ready to have a family. So that is something which has transformatively and good that it has changed for them. going forward, we have to see how the things are shaping up.
Definitely, sir. Yeshwanth, sir, would you like to say your view on this?
So I think what I have really learned, I think I've learned a lot from Santosh and Joshi, especially the amount of technology that goes into working. I think today I'm definitely far more better, tech savvy, or understand the importance of technology thanks to Santosh and Joshi. I think I've learned a lot from Aruna as well. The way she manages and leads people, and connect with that bringing in that emotional connect with people, even when you are not connected in a physical space. I think that's amazing. She brings in a lot of enthusiasm to the entire team and bonding. It's been fantastic. I've learned a lot from all my different colleagues as well. But definitely, I think life has become far more, I would say, much more efficient and productive over the last 18 months or so.
Definitely, sir. And Yashwant, sir, another question is, we have Shark Tank Week, we have Wow Week, we have the Twitter hashtag being 21K. So how do you come up with all these amazing ideas to be implemented for all these creative events of the school?
It's hard to probably think of who's brought in those ideas. I think it's a collective energy at the team. So I don't know if all of you are aware, but we call our team as crew. The entire 21K crew, and there is a reason why we call it as a crew, because we, none of us are passengers, right? I mean, in a crew, all of us would support each other. There are no captains, there are no thing, but all of us are working together. And I think people understand what we are doing at 21K school, and I think that's where the creativity, passion comes in across it. I mean, we have a internal culture where we encourage ideas, thought process from everyone. I mean, right from students to teachers at any level, academic coordinators, principal, the management, everybody is involved in that process.
Yes, sir. Like the weeks which you come up with, like Shark Tank and all, are really amazing and makes us want to come school every day.
So, sir, in your LinkedIn profile, your bio is that you're a CEO, but more importantly, a husband and a father. So, is there any parenting advice you would like to give the parents of the 21st century?
I don't want to advise anyone. Every kid is unique. The only thing is every kid is unique, and you should not, apply certain things which other parents are. Let them be what they are. That is something which will shape up, and every family is different. If I give an advice, right, it maybe not be applicable for your kid. One of the major reason is previously the generations used to change every 10 years. Now it is changing every 5 years, and people are seeing that within 3 years there will be a generation gap. Okay, so there is no hard and fast rule of parenting. If you ask me, I've read a lot of books about parenting when I became a father, but what I realized is there is never an hard and fast rule. You need to understand your kids and let them live the way they want to be, and actually give them a guidance. For example, a kid wants to be an artist, guide them how to actually they can become a really good artist. If the kid wants to be a scientist, guide them. And if the kid wants to be a sports person, give them that guidance. That's all I would ask every parent to do. But yeah, I never advise parents or anything, because I feel that every kid is unique. It's only that how you mold the kid and how you nurture it, something they become what they are. They will be in 10, 15 years time.
Definitely, sir.
Yashwant, sir, what transitions do you see coming in the next 5 years for our beloved 21K school, and how do you see yourself creating those transitions?
I'm not sure we've thought that long. Whereas, as Santosh rightly said, I think the life and things are changing very fast, right? Next year, of course, we have some thought process in terms of introducing day boarding programs, basically an extended day school where we can focus on certain greater skill development. We are introducing Stephen Covey's Leader in Me program for the students, which we want to develop the leadership skills in the students right from grade 1. We are also introducing a very innovative reading program and English language program as well. We are also introducing esports and certain other program. So the day boarding concept is essentially, where we want to give an extended 2 hours of learning for the children, and this is nothing nothing revolving around the curriculum as such. It's going to be about life skills, attitudes, development of the personality. I think that's what, and I probably think that these 2 hours are more important than the actual 3 hours itself. I mean, today you can learn maths, decimal, fractions, anything on the internet, but the skills is something Google would never be able to teach you, right? It can throw you information, videos, YouTube videos, but links, but skill is something that will continue to have to be developed, nurtured, practiced on your own. And I think that's what we are going to do going ahead. I don't know, Santosh, have you thought about it 5 years down the lane, or what would be your thought process about 5 years?
I have also not deeply thought about it, but we have clearly defined our vision and mission to be, to take education to the remotest part of the world, and everything we do will be driven towards it. So 5-10 years down the line, we have fixed an OKR that we want to be a leading global school teaching in all time zones. Now, what to be done for that, it is something which we have yet to, plan. But for next 1 year, what we are doing, we are very clear. Now we have a lot of teams joining with us. So they will also come up with ideas like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But yeah, end goal is 21K school will be a school which will reach the 1.4 billion kids in the world, okay, who are in that age group of grade 3 to 18. So that's something we want to, achieve like 5 to 10 years down the line. But yes, how we are going to do it and what and all needs to be done, it's something which team will work and come up. Definitely, me and Yeshwanth, frankly, I've also not thought so deep into what I'll be doing in year 3 or year 5. But yeah, that's the end goal we are doing.
Yes, I'm sure 5 years down the lane, our beloved 21K will reach all the milestones.
Yes, sir. In comparison to those brick and mortar schools with those huge campuses, how different do you see 21K school is?
So I don't think there's not much of difference in terms of the outcome is concerned, because I think both of us are working towards outcomes. It may vary in terms of your vision and focus, or the skill development or knowledge development in the children. But yeah, so the relevance of the brick and mortar schools is not something that's going to go away anytime soon. They are relevant and they have their own space and things. But those progressive parents and progressive students, right? I mean, who want to live for the future, who want to create a place for themselves in the future, would definitely question the amount of time that they want to spend in the overall schooling process. Would they want to spend, 3 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours? Going through that entire cycle of tuitions, travel time, and everything. I think efficiency is going to be a very important factor, and resources are limited, right? Including the money that we spend on the education. So that's going to be a question. I mean, I'm okay. I can spend 2 lakh rupees, but how would I want to spend 2 lakh rupees per year? I mean, is it going to be only around schooling, or would I want to take up schooling plus maybe coding classes, plus robotics, plus karate classes, plus piano classes, plus some sports classes? So, I mean, can I individualize and personalize education experience from my child? I think that's the thought process which parents are asking, right? I mean, so if I am sending my kid to a school where music classes are conducted, and let's say that he's interested in music, but the school does not offer piano. So why should I compromise and ask my child to learn harmonium itself? And along with those 30 students, where out of those 30 students, maybe only 10 students are interested in music. So what happens to that entire experience, that time and money that you spend on learning music classes, which is not of your choice, which is not of your interest? So rather, I would want to save time and utilize that time in creating a more individualized, personalized, flexible learning experience for my child. I mean, so, for example, if let's say a child who's extremely talented in sports, we had champions in chess and swimming and others. I mean, why would they want to spend even 4 hours, 5 hours per week learning music or arts or something which they do not? I mean, if they are made for it, I mean, if they have discovered their calling at such a young age, they should pursue that, challenge it. I mean, maybe if we provide that kind of an environment in terms of the schooling, I'm sure India as a country could win far more number of gold medals and competitions at the international level. rather than just creating the rote learning outcomes of the students who after 16 years of education are not able to earn even 16,000 rupees of monthly salary. I think that's the most pathetic thing that we can do to our children.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Santosh sir, we recently learned that Mr. Ronnie Skruvala, the founder of Upgrad, is collaborating with 21K. Congratulations from us. How is Mr. Ronnie Skruvala joining the crew is going to make a difference for the school?
Ronnie has been one of the visionary entrepreneurs. Okay, you will find him in media, you will find him in education. Specifically, if you ask me, there were two movies which have influenced me a lot, and one of them, at least these movies I've seen at least 150 times, or whenever I was depressed, I was living outside India. Two of the major movies are Swadesh and Rang De Basanti, and both were produced by him. I have never told this to him, but there are certain things in life which will influence you a lot. So this was something which was resonating with the entrepreneur. He was having belief on 21K school, and he wanted this to become a mainstream. He wanted this impact to be available with a lot of kids, because Ronnie also is known for his foundation work which he does in Maharashtra, reaching so many kids, so many families, so many villages. And he saw this will be a disruptive model, making education affordable, accessible to every remote place or every remote kid. Because I always had a question: why always a privileged kid is getting certain set of facilities and schooling, but why not all the kids who are living in different places of India? It's not that they are not capable, but how do we reach them? How do we get uh, give them that education? And there are a lot of social inequalities which are present right now in India, which can be completely disrupted with education. I'm not talking about literacy. Literacy and education are two totally different things. Literacy is just to know, read, and write. And education is something which will redefine everyone, right? For example, your moral education. How do you treat your subordinate? How do you look at the world in a different perspective? So this is something which I felt that it resonated with Ronnie, because any work Ronnie does, or in his movies, the movies he supports, the serials, or like Upgrade, his success in Upgrade was so phenomenal. He was the guy who we envisioned along with Mayank to bring in the higher education space online. So that's where we found that saying. Can me and Yeshwanth, we met Ronnie a couple of times, and we had that vibe. Like, yeah, this is the thing to do for us to grow. So he will be part of us, guiding us wherever required, and obviously to getting this ecosystem known to people and having a firm belief on this online schooling. Because again, what we provide kids is an invaluable thing called time. You can earn money, you can earn whatever you want, you can learn, unlearn, but time once lost can never be, you cannot take it back. So that's something invaluable we are providing to the kids. And with that time, kids can do a lot of things, lot of things. So instead of spending 10, 12 hours a day, they can actually spend 3 to 4 hours, and the rest of the time is with them to do whatever they want. And that will shape up their careers. Definitely that will shape up their careers. So that's what I believe in. Maybe Yeshwanth, you can also add up to the things.
No, I think you beautifully summarized. I think definitely having Ronnie on the team gives more strength, energy, vision, to an entire concept. And I think it's a good, a driving force for us to go ahead and continue to live our dreams.
Definitely, sir. I totally agree. And again, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeshwanth sir, what are the new heights the school is aiming for transforming the education industry a few years down the line? And what can the parents of 21K school expect from the school?
I think very clearly what we really want to drive the message is that there's more that you can do with the 16 years of schooling, and I think that's the key message. And hopefully at some point of time we'll able to bring in this change of mindset of what is expected out of a child. At the end of 16 years of education. I mean, you'll be surprised in any school survey that we've been doing over the last 10 years. We predominantly see that, the parents expect the child to either become a doctor or engineer. But, today a radio jockey earns more than an engineer or doctor also. I mean, so that awareness and, the willingness to go against the grain, or, that herd mentality of every child becoming an engineer or doctor, I think that has to change. And this can change only when we have, a lot more institutions, a lot more organizations believing that, there is a much more broader change that's required across the school. A long time back, I had met one of my mentors in Professor John Taylor and University of Southampton. So he asked me one thing. I mean, in UK, in Western culture, a city changes only when that university or institution changes. But if you look at our cities in India, right, any university, any top university also institution, the city has changed completely in terms of, the way we do the banking, socialization, e-commerce, everything has changed around us except our schools. In fact, to a certain extent, even the higher education is still looking at bringing in that change. But in the city, if you just walk around wherever you live, you will not see any change happening in the school. I mean, we still believe that, the new building design should also have that, ancient glory of, medieval and archaic architecture buildings also to look beautiful. I think that's a symbolic aspect of it, right? I mean, we have not really thought of, how the education system has changed. That's why we implement something called as habits of mind in a school, which is a very progressive concept from the America. Project-based learning was something which was inherent in our Vedic Gurukul system, but now we are, importing that understanding from Western, saying that project-based learning or phenomena-based learning can be used in our school, which we are doing it. But the entire aspect is that, what can we do much more for the child's, considering the change that's happening in the industry, economy, and the society. I think that change of thought process is probably what we should be able to drive this, not just with the parents, but also at the policy level.
Thank you so much for your answer, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yes. So now that we are at the end of the podcast and your words have been so inspirational throughout, so what is one message you would like to share with the parents listening to you who would like to enroll their child on this platform of 21K School?
Get inspired by our kids and make your kids also an inspiration for others. For example, I'm sure this podcast will continue every week from now onwards, and our kids will come up with a lot of ideas, telling what we do at IIT School, the overall creativity, innovation, the stuff which our kids will be creating. I would like the parents to listen themselves what is 21K School from the kids and let them take a call. But I feel that this is a great momentum which we have, created to bring in the transparency of the quality education which we are giving to our kids. And they will definitely get inspired and get their kids also into it. It's a different kind of vision which we are, nurturing our kids. And we also want others to join this mission. Yeshwanth, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I think I'll probably add to what Santosh is saying that, I think a lot of parents make that decision of, while selecting the education pattern or the board or the school, keeping what is required today. But I would encourage them to think, a child who is in grade 1 today is going to study for 12 years till he completes 12th, and then at least 3 years of graduation if it's still relevant after 12 years. So let's say even 15 years. And can we imagine how much the world would change in 15 years' time? I mean, just think of what the world was 15 years back, right? I mean, we never had Zoom and iPad and Ola and Uber, or, UPI system, Paytms, everything has changed around us. What immense change is going to happen in next 15 years? So whatever education system that you're trying to give to your child today, will this be relevant and required after 12 to 15 years is the thought process which they should have, not looking at what is today. I think that, that discussion that happens in terms of the board, examination, books, curriculum is really irrelevant today. What skills the school is building in the child is going to be predominantly very important today. As Santosh said, this is the podcast itself is an immense opportunity of parents to understand what kind of education system or what skills is required. I mean, it's not easy to create this podcast. It's just not a recording, right? I mean, you need to have the skills of communication, technology, understanding, create the logo, research that is goes in terms of understanding what questions to be thought. So if you look at it, all the elements of 21st century skills are being demonstrated in this podcast. So it's just not recording and then saving that recording and publishing it. There's immense work that goes in. Probably you could explain that more better than me. But that's what skills are. And Google, technology, and others will never be able to remove this. I mean, whatever element of AI, MI happens, the skills are not going to die very soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your inspiring and wonderful insights.
Thank you, sir, for your insights and for letting our listeners know you and our 21K school better. We have a rapid fire round for you next. You need to answer quickly. Are you ready? Let's go. So the first 3 questions are for Yeshwanth, sir. The next 3 questions are for Santosh, sir.
Mhm.
Yeshwanth, sir, if you had a time machine, what part of life would you go back to?
To the future, probably, but not into the past.
Definitely, sir. Yeshwanth, sir, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be and why?
At my parents' house.
That was really wholesome. Yeshwanth, sir, describe Santosh, sir, in one sentence.
Incredible. I mean, there's so much more to know and learn about him. Every day is an experience.
Santosh, sir, could you please describe Yeshwanth, sir, in one sentence?
Calm and quiet like Buddha. I have not seen anybody so calmer than him. I also buckle on pressure, but he never buckles.
Santosh, sir, if you had 10 minutes to speak to the whole world, what topic would you talk about?
I just want to talk about climate change.
Yeah.
Something which will make or break this world in next decades to come is to control climate change. I'll tell you some 2-3 instances, though it is rapid fire. Chennai has not experienced this kind of rain in last 200 years. I built my home based on the rain patterns in Chennai for last 50 years. But today I see that I have done a mistake. And second thing is I have visited Leh, during the when the roads were not good. I went 2 times, once in 2014 and once in 2017. I have literally seen the effect of climate change in the way snow patterns and everything. If it happens, it keeps happening at the same rate, right? We never know we'll lose our beautiful world or beautiful earth. So something which I will always talk, I will always preach, and I will always be behind people to change this climate.
Thank you, sir. What is one lesson your job has taught you that you think everyone should learn at one point in their life?
Problems will come and go. Situations will always, throw you with issues. But how do you react to that? Which what will determine whether you have been successful or you have failed. So failure is not that something which is imposed on you. It's only how you react to situations.
Who has been the most important person in your life?
Most important person, I don't want to create a fight on that, but most inspirational person, if you ask me, there were 2 guys whom I have read extensively and maybe I have followed a lot. One is Steve Jobs. Obviously, any tech guy will give the same answer. And second is Albert Einstein. So a lot of things, whatever I do, many a times I react and also will be based on that. But yeah, these 2 guys have taught me a lot of things.
Yes, sir. Now that we are at the end of the episode, we would like to thank you for honoring our podcast with your presence on the very first episode. We feel honored to meet you and are deeply inspired by your insights and hope that our listeners are equally inspired. We have set on a journey and you are our strength. And stay tuned for the next episode.
If you like this episode, please share it with your friends and family. We would love to hear from you. Give us your feedback and suggestions and write to us at theechof21k@gmail.com. Go follow us on the social media platforms. Find us with the name 21K School for all happenings at 21K School. The links are given in the description. We look forward to connecting with you all. Stay safe and stay tuned to the Echo of 21K. Thank you and bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.